Nanoracks, a space startup that is now owned by Voyager Space Holdings, proposed the Outpost concept of refurbishing a spent upper stage rocket and outfitting it as a habitation module. This is not a new idea and has been suggested many times in the past. In fact, in their proposal to NASA, they include an image showing repurposed shuttle external tanks as habitation modules. The blog post for this concept can still be seen on Voyager's website. I've linked to it in the video description for those interested. NASA and Nanoracks in 2017 signed a contract to study this idea, with a resulting study titled Outpost, an in-orbit commercial space station and sustainable US presence in low Earth orbit, unquote. This report was published in 2019, and I've linked to the report PDF in the video description. It's over 170 pages long and has largely been superseded by NASA's commercial LEO destinations program, which is NASA speak for grants and contracts for private space stations. The interesting part of the report is to focus on Outpost, a scalable habitat concept. One big advantage of developing the technology to turn orbital debris, such as spent upper stages, into habitation modules is that it helps clear up low Earth orbit, currently full of derelict satellites and rocket bodies. The problem at the moment is there is no profit motive to clear up debris. If upper stages can be refurbished and repurposed as habitation modules, perhaps there is some business there. Nanoracks worked with ULA and used their Centaur upper stage in the study. Other upper stages could be used in place of Centaur though. The report concluded it's technically feasible to convert an upper stage into a habitation module. Once the fuel and oxidizer have been vented from the upper stage, a mission extension kit would be deployed, providing propulsion and docking. Solar panels would be added to generate power from solar energy. Later iterations would use the advanced cryogenic upper stage called ACES from ULA. Over 30 cubic meters of internal space would be available after conversion, similar to the volume of a shipping container. In comparison, Vast Space's Haven 1 module will have 45 cubic meters of habitable volume. In the report, the authors suggested extending the concept to include using upper stages as service platforms for in-orbit construction, refueling and debris mitigation, essentially repurposing orbital debris into useful space platforms. Outpost Mars Demo 1 or OMD-1. Normally these proposals come and go and nothing more is heard about them, but in this case a big step forward was taken in May 2022 when Outpost Mars Demo 1 launched on SpaceX's Transporter 5 mission. The payload was a self-contained robotic metal cutting machine that tested cutting through a representative second stage tank example. Maxar Technologies provided the robotic arm with a friction milling tool that operated at high speed. The cutting operation was performed inside an enclosure to ensure zero debris escape. The entire mission lasted just one orbit, about 90 minutes, before the stage performed the deorbit burn, re-entering Earth's atmosphere over the Pacific Ocean and fully disintegrating to prevent debris generation. Post-mission analysis of this demo, which had some technical difficulties, helped Nanoracks refine techniques for on-orbit construction, paving the way for orbital assembly. This mission demonstrated zero debris robotic cutting of metal in space under vacuum and microgravity conditions. It's interesting this mission verified cutting stainless steel, which is used on the Starship vehicle, but it did not verify the aluminium-lithium alloy used by ULA on their Vulcan Centaur rockets. Stainless steel was used for pragmatic reasons. It's well understood and easy to work with. The same reason SpaceX switched to using stainless steel for Starship. Voyager is a prime contractor for the Starlab commercial space station proposal that has received over $200 million in funding from NASA's CLD program. NASA recently decided to continue using Space Act agreements to fund commercial space station development, with possibly 3 to 5 projects receiving funding in Phase 2. While Starlab will be a new station, it's not impossible that further modules could be added from repurposed upper stages in the future. Although nothing like that has been proposed, it's pure speculation on my part. Anisoprint signs a Memorandum of Understanding with Nanoracks to deploy carbon fibre composite 3D printing in space. Anisoprint manufactures continuous fibre 3D printing systems. They signed a Memorandum of Understanding with Nanoracks to become part of the low Earth orbit economy. The plan is to demonstrate continuous fibre 3D printing in orbit. To date, no new announcements or updates have been made. It's possible that once the Starlab space station is deployed, Voyager, the parent company of Nanoracks, will want to demonstrate 3D printing from its station. In-space manufacturing is likely a key service that commercial space stations will provide. Not just pharmaceuticals, but advanced alloys, ultra-pure silicon, semiconductors, and 3D printing of parts or components. Anisoprint is already working with the European Space Agency to adapt its 3D printing to microgravity conditions. Anisoprint's 3D printers produce zero waste, an important consideration for in-space manufacturing. This contrasts with cutting metal, which produces metal shards that need to be contained to avoid creating more orbital debris. This makes metal cutting and welding more difficult and complex than carbon fiber composite 3D printing. Various other space startups and companies are working on 3D printing carbon fiber composites in space. Those companies are Continuous Composites, Actuated Medical, Arrivo, and Tethers Unlimited. 3 of those companies have received NASA small business grants, and the other, Arrivo, has been backed by Airbus Ventures. These space startups are targeting habitats and structural trusses in space. Think solar panel trusses for solar power satellites or for communication antennas. Final thoughts. Nanoracks' idea for repurposing a ULA upper stage is certainly intriguing. With the proliferation of upper stages in orbit, and with no profit motive to remove them, perhaps repurposing of them into space platforms for habitation, refueling, and assembly should be considered. What do you think of the idea of repurposing spent upper stages into pressurized living quarters or propellant depots? Leave your thoughts and opinions in the comments section below. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this space video, consider buying me a coffee to help fund more episodes like this. The link is in the description. Space News Live is on Saturday evening or Sunday morning, depending where you watch from. The live stream is a great way for you to share your thoughts and opinions on the videos I posted this week, or on any space topic in general. I highlight the most thought-provoking comments on videos I've received, along with previews of upcoming content. If you got the time, please tune in and say hi. Be sure to like and subscribe so you'll see our upcoming videos. We make videos every week covering the space industry, with an emphasis on the smaller space startups that aren't covered so well on other channels. See you soon.